never get to hear about on the news. I'm going to just read a couple of excerpts because there are two heroes that I focus on here in the book that we have the honor of having in the room here tonight. So if any of you want to meet these amazing, real, everyday superheroes, they are here tonight. And I'm going to read excerpts from two of the chapters of these heroes. The late Fred Rogers, beloved and gentle host of PBS's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for over 30 years, once said, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers. You'll always find people who are helping.' Indeed, helpers and heroes are everywhere, and they shine brightest in darkness. After every disaster, we are bombarded with images of death, devastation, and destruction. The media rarely focuses on the countless helpers behind the scenes. Disaster Heroes focuses on the inspiring stories of everyday people from all walks of life who have helped communities respond, recover, and rebuild following some of the world's largest disasters from 9/11 onwards. While these events reveal our fragility, they also demonstrate how resilient we humans really are and highlight our natural urge to come together during times of crisis to help our neighbors." Now, a reading from one of the heroes from New York City. Most Americans recall watching footage of Flight 1549, also known as Miracle on the Hudson, the remarkable landing on the Hudson River. You also likely remember the name of the hero in that dramatic landing, Captain Chesley Sullenberger, or Captain Sully. However, there were many other heroes that day, each of whom worked to ensure all the stranded passengers and crew made it safely to shore. One of those heroes is New York Waterways ferry boat captain Mohamed Gouda. This is his story. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Captain Mohamed Gouda, who's joining us tonight. On January 15th, 2009, Captain Gouda started his 3 p.m. shift with his usual check of his boat. As he and his crew left the dock, the captain noticed just above the sun a plane flying low over the George Washington Bridge. It was kind of amazing, he said. It took my attention, and I kept looking at it. It was something very, very hard to believe, and every second I kept saying, "That plane's going back up. It's got to go back up." But U.S. Airways Flight 1549 did not pull up. Just after takeoff from LaGuardia, the plane had lost both engines in a bird strike, and they couldn't make it to the nearest airport. Instead, Captain Sullenberger made the decision to crash land in the river. As the Airbus touched down on the Hudson, it looked like it might be submerged, but it rose back above the water and slowed to a stop. Captain Gouda held his breath, expecting a fire or explosion of some sort you might see in a movie version of a plane crash. But instead of a flame-lit, smoke-laden, chaotic scene, he witnessed relative calm and order as emergency doors opened and passengers exited the cabin and climbed onto the wings of the plane. "I was scared something bad could happen because I have people, I have a crew, I have a boat, and I am responsible for my boat and crew," he said. Even with these concerns in the back of his mind, it never occurred to Captain Gouda to do anything but assist the people in need of aid. The ferry captain alerted his deckhands and headed for the site of the crash. As they approached the plane, Captain Gouda and his crew realized some of the passengers had already jumped into the freezing water, and they warned the others not to follow suit because they'd never make it to land. Several boats converged near the plane, and the crews worked together to scoop people out of the river. They helped passengers climb or jump from the ice-coated wings of the plane to the decks of the boats. While they worked, the plane steadily took on water, and each boat moved as close to the drifting Airbus as it could get without running into it and causing it to sink faster. If that happened, the boat and the plane might go down together. As the rescue continued, Captain Gouda and his crew circled the plane to monitor how quickly it was sinking. As they went, the captain saw a woman slip from a wing of the plane. A swift current carried her away, and unable to keep herself afloat, she struggled and went under before popping up again. Acting quickly, Captain Gouda maneuvered his vessel closer to the woman he would later learn did not know how to swim. A rescue diver dropped from a helicopter and held onto her long enough for Captain Gouda and his crew to draw nearer and lift the woman from the water. Captain Gouda says, "When she got into my boat, she was completely frozen. She couldn't move her fingers. She couldn't move her legs, and she was just screaming." He says the woman repeated the same thing over and over. "Please don't let me die," she pleaded. He did his best to calm her and to assure her she had escaped any danger as they docked at Pier 79 and handed her over to emergency medical services. While many lives were saved that day, the woman they pulled from the freezing water had the greatest impact on Captain Gouda. Years later, he still hears her voice imploring him not to let her die. The realization of how close she'd come to losing her fight against the cold grip of the river, how close she'd come to becoming the single casualty of Flight 1549, deepened his own appreciation for life. When he later met the rescued woman and her family at a Miracle on the Hudson reunion, he shared the message with her, telling her, "Ma'am, God gave you another life, another chance to live. So you'd better not waste it. Love your children. Love your husband." Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Mohamed Gouda.